with one-way FPV attack drones becoming so prominent on the battlefield. Russians have embraced utility over everything as the lethality of the threat demands a strong response. Drone attacks happen at a relatively slow speed, thus the attacks never activate reactive armor. This is a huge problem for Russian forces. The priority is to build a barrier between the drones and the tank, particularly in the most vulnerable spots. Russian tanks are equipped with roofs that are standardized. This is the most common modification to Russian tanks, because Ukrainian FPV drones previously would drop grenades down the open hatch. At this point in time, Russians have created significantly more forms of modified armor to cover different weak points on their tanks. Chain link fencing and metal bars welded to the exterior of the tank does not make it impervious, but it does allow the tank to absorb one or more direct FPV strikes usually. This might not seem like a huge improvement, but it is. It is commonplace that just one FPV strike can disable or even completely destroy a tank. The payloads that FPV drones can carry are substantial, and the operators don't have to worry about the blast effects being mitigated by reactive armor. Russians have been concerned with tank treads being attacked. In response, they have made DIY armor made out of large wooden blocks to cover the most vulnerable part of the tank's treads. Even wooden logs will work as improvised armor against drone attacks. Using chains to provide protection to the undercarriage and the rear of the tank, its aim is to clearly provide distance between the crew and the blast and to break FPV propeller blades. If that is the case, then this is very intelligent on the part of the Russian military. IFVs of all kinds are necessary, but are extremely vulnerable to many attacks, including FPV drones, ATGMs, and mines. It's common for Russian motor rifle soldiers to go over capacity, with a dozen Russian soldiers riding on the roof of the IFV. This gives Ukrainian FPV operators the opportunity to get home run strikes on Russian soldiers. A shell design can mitigate that. Russia can embrace this strategy, but needs to improve its visibility. This could be achieved by installing cameras on the surface of the shell, to the left and right. With the rise of advanced artificial intelligence, the level of camouflage some of these Russian tanks utilize is truly impressive and state-of-the-art. Camouflage now needs to fool human and artificial minds as well. The bar has been raised significantly. All of these developments are clearly leading to the end of reactive armor. Reactive armor can simply not adapt to slow-moving drones, even if they could. The weakest spots of a tank have no reactive armor at all. I already believe that we need to start framing armor in the old way of thinking. More armor equals more protection. All that is needed are simple, cheap, and durable barriers between the FPV drone and the tank. While these adaptations do not get rid of the drone threat entirely, any amount of mitigation is crucial. Tanks are extremely expensive and take many months to produce. Do-it-yourself modifications really are central to the narrative of the entire war. These novel modifications the Russian military has made are non-trivial. It is more difficult for Western capitalist militaries to accept since there is no money to be made with them. Russia has a much easier time with implementing these modifications because they are an ex-communist state. They and the commanding Russian brass are not thinking about profit margins at all over something so vital to their soldiers' safety. The United States would have a very difficult time allowing their soldiers to make significant do-it-yourself modifications to U.S. armor. This is a real war and functionality is paramount over literally everything, and tank modifications like these are clearly part of the answer.